What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. The other day, about 2 days ago, Dr. Umar Johnson appeared on the In Retrospect podcast with a young lady by the name of Dasha D, and then you had a brother by the name of Jay Stan. It was a really good build. Shout out to the brothers and sisters over there on that podcast. I highly suggest you go and check it out. I'll try to leave the link in the description. But Dr. Umar Johnson, the name of the discussion was King Kong Consciousness versus Divestors. Now, with that being said, I would also like to talk about the part that I'm interested in, which is why so many black women are single. Now, before I talk about that, I want you to know that Dr. Umar Johnson had a problem with what Kevin Samuels was saying, right? So for all intents and purposes, I want to play what Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about on this In Retrospect podcast as to why black women are single, and then I'm going to come back.
Professionally, there's a difference. And what I mean by that, okay, because let me tell you what I see. A lot of sisters will spend their best years playing around with men who they're sexually attracted to, but have absolutely no promise for them as a husband or as a father. The woman knows this, but she's attracted to him sexually. He's popular. He's swagalicious. She knows he's not husband material. She knows he's not father material. But I love the attention I'm getting from this handsome, attractive, popular man. Mm-hmm. When she gets too old to be of any use to men of that type, the swag daddies, she now goes out looking for a husband. At this point, you're 35 to 45, still gorgeous, because black don't crack. But brothers 35 to 45, especially in their 40s and 50s, when they come across a drop-dead gorgeous sister who hasn't been married, and in some cases haven't even had children, a lot of brothers tend to back off. They say something ain't right here, because who you are and what you bring to the table, somebody should have been snatched you up. And most men tend to assume, and very often accurately so, that you wasted your 20s and 30s playing the field instead of getting serious about building your family. Sisters tend to do exactly what brothers do in their 20s and 30s, and that is play around and enjoy themselves. The problem with that is men can make babies forever. Women cannot. And so I think in the socializing of our daughters, black women have to pull back just a little on this independent woman phenomenon that our girls are being indoctrinated with, because I think we're overdoing it to the point of radical black feminism, and I think it's working against black women's ability to find a suitable mate in their 20s and in their 30s. Let me give you this. I'm going to give you personal. Mm-hmm. I was not one of the swag daddies in high school. I was a bookworm. I was the black activist. I was the nerd. I was attractive, and girls appreciated that, but they were not all over me the way they were around some of these other brothers. Mm-hmm. But guess who I hear from now? Those same women who they knew I was going to be something. They knew it. Mm-hmm. Okay? I was voted most likely to succeed in my class. They knew it. And I'm not just speaking of the girls in high school, even in my neighborhood. You understand? Because there was only but so many girls in high school. They saw it, but they chose the swag daddies. In me was a husband. In other brothers, there was a husband, but at the time, you wanted the swag daddy. And that's okay if you only want the swag daddy for a couple years. But no, you want to play with the swag daddies your whole 20s, and then you want to go into your 30s and you want to play with the guy with the Benz and the Beamer and the this and the that. Nah, black women have to know when to call it quits. Get serious about building that family, because what I'm seeing a lot of sisters do, and this is unfair. This is unfair to black men. I hear a lot of women in their 40s and 50s talking about they can't find no good men, right? That's partially true. But you know what the other part is?
Hold on now, let him finish.
It's partially true, but here's the other part. What were you doing in your 20s and 30s that stopped you from finding one then? Why do we have so many 40 and 50-year-old beautiful women with so much going for them, never been married? It's one thing to have tried it and it didn't work. I'm saying you've never been married. You know why? Because you was out there playing that field, having your fun, and then you woke up one day and said, damn, I'll be 43 tomorrow. And I ain't never been proposed to, and I ain't never even thought about it. Now, all of a sudden, you're in a rush to get married, and because brothers are not jumping at the opportunity because they know there must be a story here, all of a sudden, we're not serious. Don't get me wrong. There's some truth to the narrative. But the other part of the narrative, black women are waiting too long to get serious about building family.
Now, if you heard what he just said, it is 100% of what Kevin Samuels was saying, right? But here's the hypocrisy on Dr. Umar Johnson. What he's saying is 100% right. But when Kevin Samuels says it, here's what Umar said about Kevin Samuels about 2 weeks ago. Let's play the clip.
I didn't support it at all.
Okay.
I thought it was divisive. I thought it was very Eurocentric in his approach to criticism. I think his expectations for women were very superficial in terms of what was important. There was a heavy focus on how much you make and how good you look. No woman is going to look good forever.
No.
They're going to get pregnant. They're going to get older. To me, telling women that you are too fat or too small or too broke, and that's the reason why you don't have a man, that is psychopathological and it is destructive to our community. I did not agree with his approach at all. And the fact that he did have a lot of people who did speaks to how decadent and speaks to how self-hating we can be as a people. And I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of the women who supported Kevin Samuels supported him because they don't like other black women, and they enjoyed sitting back on their couch, sipping their tea, and watch this black man tear black women's self-esteems to shreds.
Either we have one or two things. Dr. Umar Johnson has never listened to Kevin Samuels, or Dr. Umar Johnson is a hypocrite. It's one or two things. All right? Got to be one or two things. Because what he's saying is right. We all know that it's very right. As black men, we know. Okay? But the problem with Dr. Umar Johnson is because he is so self-righteous and holier than thou, only Dr. Umar Johnson should be able to criticize black women. Anybody else that does it doesn't do it from a position of love, because it's not the right way to do things. Only if Dr. Umar Johnson approves of it. Instead of dealing with the fact that the truth is the truth. Okay? That's what we're dealing with. The truth is the truth, whether we like it or not. And what Kevin Samuels has just said, or was saying, Dr. Umar Johnson just explained it. What is so different from Dr. Umar's explanation than Kevin Samuels' explanation? It's because the bias that Dr. Umar believes only he can criticize the black community. Only he can criticize black women. Because only he actually loves people. Nobody else loves them. But he's saying the same thing. When you get old, you play around too much. Nobody wants to deal with you like that because you're not being serious. Isn't that what Dr. Umar or Kevin Samuels tells a woman that has 3 kids by 3 different guys and you're 45? What are you doing asking for a man on that level when you're not that? But see, if Umar says that, then he's not, he's saying it in a nice way, right? But the reality is that we always got to beat around the bush when black men want to tell sisters the truth. But black women can be very direct with black men. Very direct. When black women want to be very direct with black men, they can do so very, very easily. And it can even hurt your feelings. But black men are not allowed to have a license to do that, only Dr. Umar Johnson. And this is the reason why you don't get so many black men in the conscious communities or in the Pan-African communities. They don't want to be a part of it because of all of the foolishness that goes wrong in the community. Because you have unaccountable leaders, because they're always begging for these ladies' money and they don't want to be held accountable. Even if you're saying the same thing, if you say it, you hate him. But if Umar says it, he loves him. And I'm going to tell you right now, from either one of them, they don't want to hear it. You think black women want to hear Dr. Umar tell them what Kevin Samuels was telling them? No. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.